Hey everyone, today I want to go over the psychology of trading. What I mean by that is I want to go over the talking points, digest, how to deal with fear and greed in the market. Obviously, as a trader, you are going to have to overcome several different things that you aren't used to in a normal 9 to 5 or your everyday living. Some of these examples are going to be, right, over trading, making too much money or making too little money, having unrealistic goals, and just being a little too headstrong in a direction that you want to go to before actually learning the steps or gaining the knowledge in order to reach that next level that you want to reach. So when it comes to trading, I want to say at least 60% of it is just mental. It's all in your head. A lot of the fear that's in trading it's just in your mind, right? And it's mind over matter. It's one of those topics that a lot of people don't like talking about, but in reality, it's very important when it comes to trading. Trading it's all a mind game, pretty much, right? Obviously, not getting to the whole money's not real topic, but essentially, once you do start trading and you realize that you could make, X amount of dollars in 30 minutes or an hour or in a 24-hour period, it's pretty incredible, right? But again, with all those possibilities being possible, you are going to run into a lot of greed, right? You're like, oh, hey, you know what? Even though I made 1% today, I want to make an extra 5%, right? 6%. It's 100% possible. I'm not saying that you can't do it or you shouldn't do it. It's just that you have to be conscious and know when it's time to hang up the hat, the boot, the mouse, whatever analogy you want to use for that. What I always do is I try to set daily goals when I first started, as well as weekly goals. And once I hit those goals, I basically just stopped trading. I'd go on about my day. And, nonetheless, I did make a lot of mistakes. I did try to go back into the chart. I did try to take more trades than were needed, or even start seeing setups that weren't even there, right? That's why it's very important to stick to your trading strategy and be very disciplined in that aspect, because it's something that's very serious, right? If this is going to be your career, you have to realize that there's certain things you can do and there's certain things you can't do. And I hate the word can't, right? Because can't, it's like such a limiting belief or word that it's something that's not even worth having in vocabulary. But when you're first starting out and you don't have that discipline set yet, you do have to have that mentality of, hey, look, I have to know when to step away from the charts. If you don't step away from the charts, then it's going to lead to a lot of mistakes that you should just avoid overall by walking away. Now, some of those points are going to be overtrading. Overtrading is going to be the easiest one and the most common one amongst all traders, just for the fact that you see the potential, right? Let's say you have 2-3 good trades in a week. You're like, dude, I'm up 6-7%. That's a ridiculous amount. Let's say if you're on a prop firm account worth 100K or 200K, right? Sometimes that could be 6, 12, 24 grand right there in a week. And that's absolutely amazing when you come from a 9 to 5 or not a high, value paying job. And, that can get to your head sometimes. You're like, hey, look, I just made 24. What if I make another 24? Then I'm really going to be happy there. But at the end of the day, if you're first starting out, you want to understand that you want to have a sustainable pace to where you can be consistent with that growth, right? You want to lean your growth. You don't want one of these growths that, spikes up, spikes down, comes up, comes down, dramatically. You want to make sure it's something that's like very linear. That way it's sustainable and it's something that you could continue with and have, the longevity in the market. And that's super, super important. I'm going to let you guys know on some tips that personally helped me overcome a lot of the fear and the greed in the market. The fear that I had in the market was essentially all inflicted on myself, right? It was basically I wasn't doing my job right. I wasn't a good trader. I wasn't very responsive. I wasn't very disciplined. What I mean by that is every time I overexposed myself or I had way too many losses in a row, it was frankly because, I was ignoring my trading plan. I was ignoring the whole strategy that I had laid out, right? The strategy that was working for me in the beginning, but then stopped working because I had a lot of greed. Now, with that fear that came from the greed, put me in a downward spiral where I was like, hey, look, I can't get anything going. I started changing my strategy. And then, the one factor that actually, cleared it all up was my risk reward ratio. I was like, well, hey, you know what? Let me step back and, let me see the numbers, right? What's going on? What am I doing right? What am I doing wrong? And I realized I had a lot of good trades and I was about a 50-50 trader, which usually, for the most part, you can be a very profitable trader being a 50% trader. Obviously, that's with a 1 to 3 or 1 to 4 trade. That's perfect right there. But I realized that a lot of my positions were a 1 to 2, all right, which didn't give me that much leg room, or even 1 to 1s, to where it didn't really do me any favors or really propel me to where I needed to get to. So once I took a step back from there and I realized, hey, you know what? Let's ignore the quantity of trades that we take and let's take more quality trades. What I meant by quality was trades that had, more probable, the probability for that trade setup to happen were more likely, as well as just the odds were skewed in my favor, right? I made sure that I was a little bit pickier with my entries, and I also made sure that each trade had a lot of room to grow, right? I didn't want to take a trade that was just going to be a 1-to-1 or a 1-to-2 max. I started changing my focus and focusing on 1-to-4 and 1-to-6 trades, right? And with a 1-to-6 trade, if you just hit 2 of those a week, that's 12%. Now, obviously, we could take some losses. So let's subtract, let's say 4% from that 12%, right? You're still up a very decent amount. So with that said, that was just one quick little thing that I was able to adjust in my trading strategy to help me continue growing as a trader. Now, this next one is going to be once you're already profitable, and being profitable, you're getting those withdrawals, you're being able to have a little bit more leg room with your capital, and you have more money in your pocket, and you tend to realize that trading doesn't take up that much of your time. With that said, I found myself like wanting to go back to my old tendencies of over trading and looking at setups that weren't even there or non-existent. So what I ended up having to do was take on new hobbies, right? Or further the business that I wanted to further, right? Start new ventures, take on more things on my plate, just to occupy my time, because it got to a point where, I'm only on the charts, 2 to 3 hours a day, and the rest of my day is free, right? Because I stopped working about 2 years ago on a regular 9-to-5. So my schedule was just trading. Of course, I had a crazy trading journey where I was waking up at 4 a.m. at some point because I thought that trading with the banks was really gonna do something for me. That's when banks started trading, and that was a whole load of BS, and I'll get to that in another video. But it basically just wasn't for me, and I realized that it wasn't sustainable nonetheless, right? Like, even if I wanted to stay at trading at that time, I'm not a morning person, even though now I guess essentially I kind of am, but not really, not to that be up at 4 a.m. extent, right? Especially when it's Eastern. There was no need for that, because right now the market opens at 9:30 for the New York session opens at 9:30 Eastern. So that's crazy, right? I'm up so many hours before then, it wasn't even worth it. But again, I didn't really know that when I first started my journey. Now I've been able to hone down my skills and be able to pinpoint the best strategy for me and my trading style, which is something I recommend for everybody. So the previous video I uploaded was all about trading strategy, and it was about having a checklist and a cookie cutter set list of things that you guys should add or have in your trading strategy already to use every day for trading. Now, with that said, I also recommend that you as a trader, you create your own trading style, right? Take a little bit from here, take a little bit from there. Maybe you watch a bunch of different, trading YouTubers, and you could take a little bit from everybody's strategy, and right, you could formulate your own strategy that's gonna work best for you and be best for a trader that you are. Ultimately, that's what you want, right? Trading is like a blank canvas. You wanna be able to do what you want when you want, as well as be comfortable with what you're doing and understand all the circumstances. That's super important as a trader. Now, another good point for, getting over the fear and greed was, besides adding other hobbies, is, doing different strategies and keeping up with all economical data. So all I did was I started watching more YouTube videos on, how to digest economical data, how to understand the fundamental analysis part of trading, since I was more of a technical at the time. And then now I feel like I'm more well-rounded when it comes to both ends. And that's very important, right? You want to further develop yourself, not only as a trader, but as a person as well. Because I feel like trading kind of gets you to grow as an individual rather than just as a trader. And that's very important as well. So besides all those points I listed, one main thing I want you guys to focus on is be consistent, right? If you would have avoided any of those problems with any fear or greed by being consistent and disciplined. And I know a lot of people tend to say, oh, discipline this, discipline that. But ultimately, discipline is everything, right? The way you do anything is the way you do everything. With that said, you have to understand that, the way you treat your routine or your job, which in this case, if it's trading, you have to get very serious. You cannot take it as a joke, or, hey, you know what, today I'm going to wake up at 8 a.m. so I could trade this session, and tomorrow I'm going to wake up for London, or then I'm going to wake up for the Asian session. Like, no, stick to one thing. And then, if you want to diversify and trade different sessions, that's perfectly fine, but adjust your schedule accordingly, right? Because you want to play at your strengths, not your weaknesses. And that's something that's going to help you guys a lot when it comes to, the psychology behind trading. There's a lot of fear and greed, and of course, all this could be avoided just by having some discipline. It is going to take some time to build up. I'm not going to lie to you guys. You guys might even listen to all this and ignore it completely and then learn the hard way, which I'm not going to lie to you, I did that. And I've seen several other individuals do the same exact thing, and there's nothing wrong with that. You are human. The main reason I come on here and do these videos for you guys to take my experience and, you know, take all the headaches and heartache that I had from trading and learning the hard way, is to save you guys some time and money as well. With that said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. There is more content to come. I am going to have my free trade signals down below, as well as the free coursework. That's going to be live till January 1st. I might even extend it, just leave it free forever, just so you guys can have that content and have a great baseline to go off of. It's not the best coursework in the world, but it is a very solid basic coursework for you guys to just know all the fundamentals that you guys do need to know in order to trade. It also has a whole trade strategy that I first started with, that I also posted on YouTube, but it's also on the website there for you guys to watch as well. If you guys have any questions or want any other answer, you guys could just always DM me on Instagram, and I'll be more than happy to help out. Hope you guys enjoyed the video.